Are you searching for timeless wisdom to bring clarity, strength, and purpose into your life? In this video, we'll uncover the profound spiritual lessons from samurai practices, inspired by the legendary Miyamoto Musashi, to help you master stillness, embrace resilience, and live with honor. Lesson 1. Find stillness in the chaos. Life is full of problems, setbacks, and things you can't plan for. Chaos wasn't just a figure of speech for the samurai. It was their everyday life. They often had to deal with life or death situations, which required them to stay calm even when things were very bad. Miyamoto Musashi, who was a very important samurai, taught that real power comes from being able to keep calm in the middle of chaos. His teachings tell us that being calm isn't about not having storms, but about being able to stay steady in them. Musashi wrote a lot about how the mind should be like still water. When water is still, it mirrors everything clearly, so you can see things as they really are. A rough mental state, like a rough sea, changes the truth and makes people make bad choices. Musashi didn't try to avoid conflict by finding silence. Instead, he wanted to reach a state of inner balance and focus that let him act in a clear and decisive way. Today, chaos comes in many forms, such as never-ending deadlines, social pressures, personal conflicts, and the constant stream of alerts from our phones and other devices. It's easy to get lost and feel under a lot of stress. Musashi taught us that we can't change the chaos around us, but we can change how we react to it. Realizing what we can and cannot control is the first step towards finding peace. From this point of view, we can put our attention on the things that really count. Being aware of the present moment is a useful way to develop stillness. Being mindful trains our minds to stay in the moment and in touch with reality, even when we are stressed or distracted. To improve his mental focus, Musashi meditated a lot. This helped him stay calm and collected in fight. You don't have to be a warrior to benefit from awareness. Just a few minutes of deep breathing or quiet thought can help you get your thoughts back on track. Musashi also taught how to find stillness by separating from things. Detachment doesn't mean not caring. It means letting go of feelings that make it hard to make decisions. We can deal with problems more clearly when we let go of our fear, anger, or rage. Picture yourself in the middle of a heated fight. When you're detached, you can take a step back, calmly look at the situation, and then answer with thought. To find calm in chaos, we don't have to get rid of stress. We just have to change how we deal with it. It's about getting stronger and more focused so that we can handle life storms with unwavering strength, like a samurai in war. Musashi's teachings tell us that the peace we seek is always inside us. We just need to get better at finding it. Lesson 2. Death as a teacher. For the samurai, death wasn't just the end of life. It was also a strong way to learn and be inspired. Miyamoto Musashi often said that people should accept death and see it not as an end, but as a way to live a life full of character, courage, and purpose. The samurai's daily reflection on death wasn't a morbid habit. It was a deep spiritual practice meant to make them more aware and present. Musashi says that a fighter should live as if they are already dead in many of his works, especially the Book of Five Rings. This way of thinking frees the samurai from fear of death, which lets them act quickly and effectively. Being aware of their own death all the time helped them concentrate by getting rid of distractions and unimportant worries. When you accept that death is real, every moment is valuable and every deed has meaning. These days, it's common to try to avoid thinking about death. It's easy to forget that life is short because we live in a society that values comfort and stability. Still, Musashi's teachings tell us that thinking about death can free us from fear and putting things off. It can make us think about what's important. What kind of mark do we want to leave? The samurai saw death as a test of their character and the decisions they had made. They knew that living in fear was not living your whole life. They chose instead to face death head-on and use it to help them make decisions. This practice has a lot to do with our own lives. Realizing that time is limited helps us focus on what really matters. Making connections with others, following our dreams, and living a moral life. Accepting death can also teach us how to be strong. Life is full of problems, losses, and not knowing what will happen next. The samurai's view on death teaches us to be brave and accepting when bad things happen. We don't have to fight what is going to happen. We can learn to flow with it and become stronger and smarter in the process. The wise words of Musashi also tell us to let go of the small fears that keep us from moving forward. We can reach our full potential when we stop being afraid of failing, being rejected, or being judged. As a teacher, death helps us get past these limits by telling us that the best parts of life are often found outside of our comfort zones. So, the samurai's thought about death isn't about being sad, but about living fully and honestly. Making peace with death helps us live each day with clarity, thanks, and courage. This is a lesson that is just as important now as it was in feudal Japan. Lesson 3. The sword as a symbol. In a samurai's life, the sword was more than just a weapon. It was a holy sign of their ideals, discipline, and spirit. Miyamoto Musashi, who was very good at sword arts, wrote a lot about the sword's inner meaning and told his students to look past its appearance. Musashi thought that the sword represented the warrior's path to self-mastery, which goes through all parts of life. The sword is a symbol of discipline at its core. To use it well, you have to practice, focus, and be dedicated all the time. Sailors didn't just learn how to fight. They also taught their minds and bodies to work together. Musashi stressed that learning how to use a sword well was about more than just being good at it. This shows us that focus is the key to success in everything, from art to business to relationships. The sword also stands for truth and clarity. There is no confusion or illusion when you use a blade, because it is sharp and accurate. Musashi often talked about how important it is to see things as they really are, without any bias or misunderstanding. This clarity helps samurai make quick decisions in life and war. The lesson for us is to face problems with a clear head and look for the truth instead of giving up because of fear or doubt. Another important thing about the sword is that it represents duty. Sailors were told that drawing their sword too lightly was a sign of life and death. This made them feel very responsible for what they did. In the same way, we need to be careful and responsible with our own swords, which could be our words, choices, or influence. When we abuse our power, we hurt other people, but when we use it wisely, we can make things better. Musashi also said that the sword could represent changing into a better person. We are shaped by our battles and problems, just like a blade is forged by hot metal and hammering. We can become stronger, more robust, and more refined by accepting this process. So, the sword as a sign shows us the way to master ourselves. It tells us to train our minds, look for the truth, be responsible, and be open to change. Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye, Musashi said. The true power of the sword lies not in the steel, but in the spirit of the person who wields it. Lesson 4. Master the art of letting go. The samurai's spiritual practice is based on Miyamoto Musashi's idea of mushin no shin, which means mind without mind. In this state, you let go of conscious thought and attachment, which lets your behaviors happen naturally and without thinking about them. The lesson of letting go is very important from a spiritual point of view. Musashi taught us that holding on to fear, doubt, or desire makes it hard to make decisions. Letting go doesn't mean giving up responsibility. It means letting go of things that aren't important and are getting in the way of our judgment. When we free our minds, we can face the problems of life with clarity and confidence. Letting go in our lives usually means giving up the need to be in charge. Because we're afraid of the unknown, we hold on to results, connections, and identities. Musashi taught us to believe the process and accept that things change over time. This doesn't mean being passive. It means being more involved with life without fear or connection. Forgiving ourselves and others is part of letting go. Keeping anger or guilt inside only makes us feel heavier. Musashi's wise words tell us that the real test of strength is being able to let go of these feelings and move on. Being mindful and self-aware are important for learning how to let go. We can figure out what's holding us back and take steps to get rid of it by watching our thoughts and feelings without judging them. This exercise leads to more freedom and peace of mind over time. Letting go is a journey that leads to freedom. We learn to trust ourselves, be open to change, and live with an open heart. If we want to fully enjoy the present time, we should let go of things that no longer serve us, as Musashi said. Lesson 5. Honor your commitments. Bushido, the rule of the samurai, stressed loyalty, honor, and honesty a lot. Miyamoto Musashi didn't have a choice. Living with honor was a part of who he was. Honoring your promises was an important part of the samurai way of life and a sign of your character. In the samurai world, commitments were not just promises made to other people. They included goals, beliefs, and principles for each person. Musashi taught that a real fighter was always committed, whether it was to their training, their word, or their community. In today's world, keeping promises shows that you are honest. People believe us more, and our relationships get stronger when we keep our promises. We also teach self-respect and control, which is more important. Musashi thought that the best way to get better at anything, including martial arts, was to be consistent. Honesty is also needed when keeping promises, though. Musashi told us not to make vows we can't keep or to take on too much. We should not spread ourselves too thin. Instead, we should act with purpose and focus. This balance lets us do a great job of meeting our responsibilities. When we live with honor, our deeds should match our values. You need to be brave, disciplined, and responsible. Musashi's teachings tell us that being honest isn't just about what we do when other people are looking. It's also about being honest with ourselves when we're by ourselves. Keeping promises is a way to grow as a person and as a spiritual being. It builds trust, toughness, and a feeling of purpose. Being honest in our daily lives makes us like warriors and encourages others to do the same. Lesson 6. Balance strength with compassion. The samurai were strong and gentle at the same time. They were both soldiers and poets. Miyamoto Musashi's teachings show this duality by stressing that real mastery is more than just physical strength. It also requires mental depth and compassion. Musashi thought that strength without kindness was meaningless. The job of a fighter wasn't to rule, but to protect and help others. The samurai's devotion to art, philosophy, and faith, along with their martial training, shows that they understood this balance. To balance power and compassion in our lives, we need to work on being strong and caring at the same time. We can get through tough situations by being strong, but we can connect with others and build important relationships by being compassionate. Both of these traits are necessary for a happy life. Being kind to ourselves is another thing that Musashi's knowledge teaches us. Being strong means knowing your own boundaries and taking care of yourself. We can be fully present for others if we take care of ourselves. To find a balance between strength and kindness, you need to know yourself and set goals. You need to know when to be strong and when to give in, when to talk and when to listen. This balance gives life meaning and a way to connect with others. The samurai's history shows us that real strength comes from being able to use your power in a good way. We can handle life's problems with grace and make the world a better place if we have both traits. Miyamoto Musashi shed light on the spiritual lessons that can be learned from samurai practices. These lessons are timeless and can help you live with honor, strength, and purpose. By following these lessons, we can live a life of balance, bravery, and kindness, which will motivate us and others to face challenges and find inner peace.